My ex-boyfriend Jack has returned to the country. He came to see me and told me a truth. Back then, Daniel pursued me. Even the spot for me to go abroad as an exchange student was arranged by him. After I broke up with you, he ignored me. I only found out when I returned to China that you two were together. He had his eyes on you from beginning to end. I was very shocked. Daniel had resorted to such unscrupulous means just to get me. In college, I was roommates with Daniel. I don't know why, but he was very clingy to me and liked to have physical contact with me. At night, Daniel climbed onto my bed and said, "Michael, my quilt isn't dry. Can I sleep with you?" I rolled my eyes. The young master of the Beijing Circle got a whim and washed the quilt himself, throwing the whole quilt into the washing machine. He broke the washing machine and the quilt was still dripping on the balcony. They've all gone home for the festival. You can sleep in the second brother's or the third brother's bed. No, I hate their pheromones. I could only move inward a little and share half of the bed with him. Daniel nuzzled up to my gland like a puppy, sniffed, and said, "You look so cool and aloof, but your pheromone smells like peaches. It's so cute. I like your pheromone. We're both alphas. When we smell each other's pheromones, we just want to fight. Stay away from me. When I smell your strong liquor, like pheromone, I can't help but want to kick you off the bed." Daniel hugged me and acted spoiled, saying, "No, I want to be the best friends with Michael in the world." I couldn't do anything about him. I was flipping through the chat records with my boyfriend, Jack. In the past month, I've always been the one to initiate the chats, and he only replied perfunctorily with 1 or 2 sentences. We're both studying at universities in Beijing. It's just that I'm in the south of the city and he's in the north. Every time I said I wanted to go see him, he said he was busy with experiments and had no time. Don't we even have time to meet and have a meal together? I was just thinking about him when he sent me a message. "Michael, there's something I need to tell you. I'm going to study abroad." "When are you leaving?" "This Friday." "So, you've secretly completed all the procedures and are only notifying me before you leave." "Sorry, let's break up. I've fallen in love with someone else. I've been suddenly dumped by my boyfriend." I covered my eyes with my arm and the tears rolled down uncontrollably. "Michael, he isn't worth your tears. You deserve someone better. He was my first love, the first Omega I've ever loved in my life." Due to my emotional upheaval, I released a large amount of aggressive pheromones. Instinctively, Daniel also released a large amount of aggressive pheromones. The pheromones of two S-class alphas are confronting each other, evenly matched, and neither is willing to yield to the other. Just when I was about to punch Daniel, he suddenly kissed my lips. He kissed me more and more passionately, groping me all over, full of desire. What's going on? I was kissed by him in a daze for a long time before I started to resist. I bit his lips and pushed him away forcefully, shyly wiping the moisture off my lips. "Are you crazy? We're both alphas." Daniel was breathing heavily, staring at me with a satisfied look on his face, with blood on the corner of his mouth, smiling wickedly. "I just like you like this. You're so exciting. Get out. I can't accept an AA relationship. I can't sleep in the same bed with him anymore." Suffering the double blow of being dumped and being kissed by a same-sex person, I went to a bar to drink myself into oblivion. I ordered several kinds of wine. No matter what I drank, they all seemed to taste like Daniel's pheromones. I held my forehead. He must be poisonous. "Handsome guy, what's the point of drinking alone? How about I keep you company?" The Omega sat down beside me. Right. I like this kind of delicate and soft little Omega. Instead of an alpha like Daniel, who is taller, older, and tougher than me in every way. "My name is Michael. What's your name?" "My name is Matthew. Brother, let me pour you a drink." I was already 6 or 7/10 drunk, and with my mind in a turmoil, I didn't notice that when Matthew was pouring the drink, he dropped a pill into it. After drinking the wine Matthew gave me, I felt a strange fire rising in my body and my gland was heating up. I pressed my gland and said coldly, "You drugged me. What do you want to do?" "Brother, I have my eyes on your gland. On the market, an S-class gland can be sold for at least $500,000. He drugged me to induce my susceptible periods so that he could remove my gland while I was alive. The drug made me weak all over, unable to exert any strength or use my attacking pheromones. 2 alphas appeared and tried to take me away. Just then, Daniel showed up. He picked up a wine bottle and smashed it on Matthew's head. His bodyguards held the 3 of them down. Daniel picked me up in a princess carry and said, "Send them to the Alliance prison." Daniel took me to an apartment near the bar and laid me on the bed. Under the effect of the drug, I kept releasing courtship pheromones. "Daniel, give me an inhibitor injection. The drug they gave you is too potent." The inhibitor won't work and will make you feel even worse. Then can you leave and let me get through the susceptible period on my own? Daniel took off his shirt and reached his hand under my abdomen. Michael, give me a try and you'll know that it's even more exciting between alphas. I raised my head, my Adam's apple rolling, and my whole body was dripping with sweat. That brute Daniel. My susceptible period lasted for 7 days and he stayed with me for those 7 days. On the morning of the 8th day, I held a cigarette between my fingers, smoking while pondering over life. Daniel took the cigarette from my hand and took a puff from the flattened end I'd bitten. Michael, I'm your first love, your first alpha. I sighed. How did it turn out like this? The room was filled with the scents of peaches and spirits. The two pheromones that would clash when they met slowly merged and intertwined, brewing a sweet peach-flavored spirit that was surprisingly harmonious. Daniel stroked the back of my neck and said, the mark I gave you has faded again. Michael, let me give you another one. He bit down on my gland and injected his pheromones. I felt a tingling all over my body as if every toe was numb and it felt like I was drunk. I knew you liked it when I did this to you. You're just as much of a pervert as I am. I pushed him down and took a bite on his gland, injecting my pheromones. He grabbed my hair and said hoarsely, baby, I'm really head over heels in love with you. Just like that, I got together with Daniel. People around said that a relationship between two alphas wouldn't last long. But we've been together for 3 years and Daniel's passion for me has only increased. We're very happy together every day. I saved up money and opened a repair shop. I have my own career and a compatible lover. Life is going well and I'm very content. Jack's appearance rippled this beautiful life. Jack approached me with red, rimmed eyes, entered the safe social distance, and emitted pheromones with the smell of gardenias. Michael, do I still have a chance? We had a mutual crush since high school and confirmed our relationship in college. We once had a very wonderful time. After the long-awaited reunion, there was no more fluttering feeling, only the familiarity of seeing an old acquaintance. I said softly, Jack, there's no chance for us. I know. You have the courage to keep going even when hitting a brick wall. But once you turn around and leave, you'll never look back. I'm just not willing to accept it. You were so good to me before, but it was me who didn't know how to cherish and lost you. Shortly after Jack left, Daniel came. He hugged me from behind and suddenly froze. I had the pheromones with the smell of gardenias on me. He couldn't have not smelled it. Daniel carried me to the office desk and misbehaved. Stop, someone might come in at any time. Don't worry, I've asked the bodyguard to stand guard at the door. No one will come to disturb us. Daniel is smiling, but I can feel that he is very angry, like a lion whose territory has been invaded, full of aggression. Alphas all have strong possessiveness, and I'm no exception. As soon as Jack returned to the country, he came to see you. What did he say to you? He said that you deliberately pursued him back then to drive him away from me. It was me who did it. But if he really loved you, I wouldn't have succeeded. Michael, I did all these things because I love you. Don't be angry. If it were 3 years ago, I would definitely be very angry when knowing this. But now, this isn't enough to make me angry with him. Daniel knows me well, so he confessed this in such an annoying tone. Daniel bent down and kissed along my lower abdomen. I grabbed his hair. He looked up, stuck out his tongue and licked the corner of his mouth, smiling cunningly. Will, Michael, forgive me for serving you like this? I just love you so much that I can't even eat without getting you. You little rascal. I bit Daniel's gland fiercely and marked him again. But we are both alphas. No matter how many times we mark each other, it's all in vain. Daniel hugged me tightly, shivering with pleasure, and said viciously, finally, I've licked off that disgusting gardenia smell on you. You're not allowed to see him again or kill him. Come on, it's old news. Stop being so jealous. He snorted and continued to do something naughty. Daniel and I walked out of the repair shop hand in hand, planning to go for a meal. Suddenly, 3 vans stopped in front of us. 20 beta men with tattooed arms got out of the vans and waved their machetes, slashing at us directly. S-class pheromones can offset the kinetic energy of bullets in the air and can bulletproof, but they can't defend against swords slashing at close range. These betas are all experts and are not affected by pheromones. The advantage of our S-class pheromones is Daniel and I couldn't be brought into play. I snatched a machete from a beta, swung it with eyes wide in rage, and shouted at the bodyguards, protect Daniel and get him into the house, pulled down the rolling door. Daniel twisted a beta's arm off, grabbed a knife, and started slashing. His handsome face was covered in blood as he said to the bodyguards, don't worry about me, protect Michael. Yes. We turned our backs to each other, fought desperately, and held on until the police arrived. In the hospital, Daniel scanned the various injuries on my body with his eyes, and the veins on his forehead throbbed. He hugged me, stroked the back of my neck, and said in a suppressed and restrained manner, "Michael, does it hurt?" I touched his head and said casually, "Not too bad. Do you want to play on the hospital bed?" This man, who couldn't wait to be intimate with me anytime and anywhere, remained unmoved. We hugged each other and didn't say a word. After experiencing life and death, just a hug is enough. The police investigation result was that the Betas were partners of a nearby repair shop. They were jealous of my good business and wanted to teach me a lesson. This sounds really ridiculous, but they really did open a repair shop nearby and refused to say who the mastermind was. Since the attack, Daniel has woken up every night and quietly gone to the balcony to smoke. I finally couldn't stand it anymore. I got dressed and got up, then hugged him from behind. His body was very cold. The mastermind behind this is an illegitimate son of my father. He's a fool, thinking killing me would allow him to take my place. What happened to him then? He's dead. The Fu family is a den of vipers. The various branches are constantly at each other's throats, and every now and then an illegitimate son pops up to cause trouble. Daniel, the crown prince, is walking on thin ice. I'm an S-class alpha capable of both civil and military affairs. Let me go to your side and help you. These are all dirty jobs. I can't let your hands get dirty. Daniel held my hand tightly and said, "All I need is for you to stay by my side and never leave me for the rest of my life." Okay. He had other troubles and refused to tell me. Soon I learned that it was because his father had given him an ultimatum: break off all relations with the alpha outside and go home to get married and have children. The Fu family held a banquet and Daniel's father sent someone to give me an invitation. Daniel directly tore up the invitation and said, "You don't need to pay attention to it." On this day, Daniel's father, Carter, still sent someone to pick me up and take me to the Fu family. They said I wasn't qualified to attend the banquet and made me sit in a room. There was a big screen in the room showing the scene of the banquet. The guests got into an uproar. An Omega suddenly entered the heat period and released a large amount of courtship pheromones. All the alphas present were affected by him and entered the susceptible period. The bodyguards led the alphas to evacuate. Daniel rushed in front of the Omega, grabbed his arm with his eyes full of desire and possessiveness. I was stunned. I'm too familiar with this look in his eyes. Every time we were intimate, when he was aroused, he would look at me with this kind of look. The Omega's cheeks were flushed and he rubbed against Daniel. "Brother Daniel, the pheromone test report is out. Our compatibility is as high as 99.99%. This means that as long as we meet, we'll fall deeply in love with each other and stay together for life." I thought it was just a business marriage, but I didn't expect to find true love. It's so uncomfortable. You want me too, don't you? This Omega is called Samuel and is Daniel's marriage partner for business alliance. Daniel pushed Samuel away with difficulty. To stay sober, he cut a deep gash on his palm. Blood dripped down. He knocked out the thugs who tried to stop him and staggered out. I pushed open the door and bumped right into Daniel. He pinned me against the door and kissed me, saying, "Baby, I knew you were here. I could smell your pheromones. Only you can accompany me through my susceptible period. No one else can." I bandaged Daniel's wound and accompanied him through his susceptible period. I panicked to find that even though I did my best, he couldn't release. His body desperately craved Samuel's pheromones and he was crazy to mark him. I was tasteless to him. His pheromones couldn't accept me at all. For the first time, the strong liquor pummeled the peach mercilessly. I stayed in this room for 10 days until Daniel's ruts ended. Daniel wrapped me in his coat and carried me out of the room. Carter was sitting in a wheelchair. His body was already very weak. Now you should understand that under the influence of Yao Yang's pheromones, this alpha can no longer satisfy you. If you can't bear to part with him, you can keep him outside. This is the greatest concession Yao Yang can make. Father, I won't marry Samuel. Michael is my wife. Daniel kissed my forehead, hugged me, and strode away. Carter's voice chased after us like a ghost. He doesn't even have sexual value now. I'd like to see how long you can still stay with him. They don't kill me because the dead are invincible. They firmly believed in the power of pheromones. Keep me around and wait to see Daniel grow tired of me. Can Daniel abandon everything and leave with me? The answer is no. I'm an orphan and all my attachments are tied to Daniel alone. As for him, he has brothers who follow him, a mother and a young sister to take care of. He can't just ignore them. Moreover, neither his father nor his enemies will let him off. He can't leave. He has to accept his destiny. Daniel has become very busy. He is eager to replace Carter and become the new head of the Fu family. There are many bodyguards around me now. They are all Daniel's trusted aides. I light a cigarette, but the uneasiness in my heart just won't go away. It's been almost 2 months since Daniel and I were intimate. Desire is raging within my body. I want it, but he can't do it. His glands have received Samuel's pheromones. He's extremely eager, and his pheromones are clashing more violently with mine. Affected by the pheromones, he has developed a serious physical repulsion towards me. Daniel is avoiding this fact and has simply abstained from sex. My susceptible period is coming soon. I'm going to give myself an injection of the inhibitor. Daniel takes the inhibitor from my hand and throws it into the trash can. With me here, you don't need this. But you. No. He was so angry that he laughed and threw me onto the bed in his arms. Watch your husband do something wild for you. It'll definitely satisfy you. I laughed. Sure enough, you can't tell a man he's no good. Daniel spent my rutting period with me. It seemed like we had returned to the sweet days of the past. One day, I went to pick Daniel up from work. To my surprise, Samuel was also there. Daniel voluntarily explained to me there are many cooperation projects between our two families in business, so we often meet. Samuel shook hands with me generously and said, we're going to have a meal with our partners. Will you come, Michael? Daniel put his arm around my waist. You don't have to go if you don't like it. I want to go. At the dinner, Samuel was very sociable and talked eloquently. Daniel stroked my lower back and said, who are you looking at? Eat your meal properly. I'm eating properly. You've lost a lot of weight recently. Eat more. Daniel's eyes were so captivating that my face flushed. Samuel came over to toast me. I took a drink. It was a rose-flavored liquor with the same taste as the mixture of Samuel's and Daniel's pheromones. What does Jiangsu think of the taste of this wine? I said indifferently, I still prefer peach-flavored spirits. Daniel's face darkened. He poured out the unfinished wine and said, I have the same taste as Michael. I've loved peach spirits since college and will never change my preference in this lifetime. Rose doesn't go well with wine at all. Samuel looked a bit embarrassed. A strong smell of rose pheromones hit me. Daniel gasped sharply and the veins on the back of his hand stood out. In the air, the two pheromones of rose and spirits intertwined and were inseparable. Samuel said triumphantly, your pheromones don't say so. Daniel suppressed his desire, grabbed me and left quickly. Back in the car, Daniel entered his rutting period. Baby, help me. I leaned down. He grabbed my hair and the car was filled with the smell of spirits. But without Samuel's pheromones, he couldn't be satisfied. Back then, he resorted to any means to get me because I could bring him a sense of excitement. Now, the person who can give him this feeling has become Samuel. Daniel impatiently took out the inhibitor and injected it into his burning gland. We both felt embarrassed. I've already had an expert team develop a drug to block high compatibility dependence. Don't worry. Okay. However, decades ago, some experts had already attempted to develop this kind of drug. So far, they haven't succeeded. I held his hand, suppressing the anxiety in my heart. He intertwined his fingers with mine and looked out of the window, a bit absent-minded. Before long, I met Matthew. He should be serving his sentence in the federal prison. Why is he here? When Matthew saw me, he ran away at once. I suppressed him with my pheromones and he immediately knelt on the ground. Mr. Michael, please spare me. I continued to attack him with my pheromones, which was more painful than physical blows. Matthew's face turned pale. Unable to hold on any longer, he cried out it was Daniel who instigated me to do that back then. I grabbed his collar, my eyes bulging with anger. What did you say? Mr. Daniel said he wanted to sleep with you. I was just doing it for the money. Why should I believe you? Matthew took out a recording. In the recording, Daniel asked, will this drug really not cause any harm to the body? Matthew said, Mr. Daniel, you can rest assured. It's absolutely safe. Once that alpha takes it, he'll be obedient. You can do whatever you want with him then. Daniel's good friend asked, why do you take a fancy to an alpha? Who knows what spell he cast on me? He keeps appearing in front of me all day long, making my heart itch. I won't waste too much time on him. I'll dump him after I'm done having fun. In the middle of summer, I felt as if I had fallen into an ice cellar. I smiled a bitter smile. How did you get this recording? When you're in the game, you always have to have a backup plan to save your skin. Ooh. I grabbed Matthew and went to Daniel's company. Samuel is still here today. Just as Daniel said, the two of them really meet each other often. Although there are other staff members present, the atmosphere between the two of them is very delicate. Whether intentionally or unintentionally, they released soothing pheromones to each other. The pheromones of roses and spirits are intertwined. Although the concentration is not high, it is very lingering. For an alpha and an omega with a high compatibility, doing this will be very pleasurable. Isn't this the same as flirting? When Daniel saw Matthew, his body tensed up and his face darkened. You guys go out first. Samuel looked at Daniel reluctantly and went out with everyone. Michael, no matter what he said, don't believe it. I clicked to play the recording. Faced with the evidence, he couldn't argue. Daniel was furious and released pheromones to attack Matthew. Matthew fainted directly. I released attacking pheromones at him. There is no ambiguous atmosphere between the two pheromones. They only fight and suppress each other. Daniel, you are so despicable and shameless. Daniel withdrew his pheromones and let me attack him. So, after 3 years, you're bored with me, right? No, I was just talking nonsense with my friends at that time. Stop making excuses. You don't respect me at all. What you've done makes me can't help but wonder if your affection in the past 3 years was just an act. You make me sick. Daniel was even more angry than me. Why do you keep dwelling on the past? Are you blaming me for ruining your relationship with Jack? Michael, does it matter how we started? In the past 3 years, I've treated you wholeheartedly. How can you doubt my sincerity towards you? I've been extremely busy recently. Can you stop making trouble for me? I was stunned. I seemed to be a resentful woman abandoned by her husband now. The way he looked at me and the tone of his speech were all filled with cold impatience. I'm not good at arguing. I looked at him with red-rimmed eyes. Daniel was also stunned. He pressed the back of my neck and eagerly kissed me. Less than 10 seconds later, he pushed me away and picked up the trash can to vomit. The longer he was in contact with Samuel, the more severe his physiological aversion to me became. Being rejected like this by my beloved. My heart ached as if being cut by a knife. I've really had enough. Stop deceiving yourself. We can't be together anymore. You've met your fated omega, and your pheromones have already betrayed you. The liquor has fallen in love with the rose and is determined to be faithful to it. Closing the door to the peached, I turned around and walked away. Michael, stop right there. Daniel chased downstairs. Samuel was standing not far away, looking at Daniel affectionately. Just then, we were attacked again. About 100 people from the other side came and surrounded us. The two groups were fighting, and the scene was extremely chaotic. Daniel rushed to my side, and we fought back to back. We cooperated very well and were about to break through the encirclement. Suddenly, I smelled the scent of rose pheromones. This is Samuel's pheromone. He sent out a distress signal. My compatibility with him isn't very high, probably around 45%. Even so, I have a strong urge to protect him. Daniel, who has a 99.99% compatibility with him, rushed in front of him and took a knife for him with his body. The defense on my back was left empty, and I was slashed twice on my back. I was anxious to check Daniel's injury. Distracted for a moment, I was knocked down to the ground by two people. Daniel roared hysterically, "Michael!" under a flurry of knives. I endured the excruciating pain and fought desperately. Daniel wanted to come over, but his legs were held back by the rose pheromone. "Brother Daniel, I'm so scared." Daniel protected Samuel behind him and fought with bloodshot eyes. The fierce battle lasted for more than 10 minutes. I stood unsteadily, covered in blood, clutching my stomach, and looking at Daniel. So sleepy, so tired. Daniel dropped his knife and rushed towards me in a panic. Before I fell, he grabbed me into his arms and held me tightly. I rested my head on his shoulder, grabbed his clothes, and shed tears. When faced with danger and having to choose between two, he didn't choose me. Daniel was trembling and crying uncontrollably. He said, it's okay, baby. We'll go to the hospital right away. Michael, don't fall asleep. Don't you ever fall asleep? I fell into a dead and silent darkness. I was in the ICU for 3 days and 3 nights for emergency treatment. When I woke up, Daniel held my hand and stared at me intently. There were bloodshot eyes in his eyes, and he looked haggard. You were stabbed 17 times, a full 17 times. The stab wound on your stomach was the most serious. You had 40 stitches. You entrusted your back to me. How could I leave that position? My heart was very calm. He just couldn't resist the bond of pheromones and followed his instinct. I said indifferently, Daniel, let's break up. With tears streaming down his face, he said stubbornly, no. You promised me that you wouldn't leave me. You have to stay by my side for the rest of your life. I won't be with Samuel. I'm a human being, not a slave to pheromones. I love you. I only love you. Michael, I haven't changed my heart. You can't abandon me. Daniel kissed me cautiously. But our pheromones clashed again. I'm physically weak now. Attacked by his pheromones, I was in so much pain that I broke out in a cold sweat. Daniel immediately let go of me. Daniel, but our pheromones say it's impossible. You just focus on recovering. I'll solve this problem. Daniel's eyes were resolute as he left. Carter suddenly passed away. The other branches of the Fu family blocked the news and joined hands to assassinate Daniel. Daniel acted swiftly and resolutely, dealing with all the branches and leaving them no way out. Finally, he became the new head of the Fu family. I stayed in the hospital for a month before being discharged. Daniel no longer saw Samuel and terminated all business dealings with the Song family. Samuel suddenly came to my shop. I had just finished repairing a car and was covered in engine oil. He pinched his nose and showed a look of disgust. I really don't understand. How could brother Daniel take a fancy to a rough and tanned guy like you? Don't get too cocky. I won't give up. With a 99.99% compatibility rate, he'll always miss me and want me. He won't hold out for long and will come to me. Actually, you don't need to tell me this. I've decided to leave. Samuel showed a look of delight. Are you serious? Yes. Then leave quickly and stop pestering Daniel. I watched Samuel leave, unable to hide the envy in my eyes. A 99.99% compatibility rate, a fateful encounter at first sight. In the ABO world, alphas and omegas are controlled by pheromones. Falling in love with someone because of a high compatibility rate is the most stable relationship. A relationship like mine and Daniel's, an AA relationship, is really going against our instincts to love each other. I don't want to see Daniel not loving me. So, this time, without hitting the wall, I'll be the one to leave first. I'm very good at fighting and avoided the bodyguards. I gave up everything and left the capital. I heard that the young master of the capital's elite circle has gone crazy and is looking for his wife all over the world. I'm in Beihai, still running a car repair shop and occasionally taking on some programming jobs. I'm not an ambitious person. I'm content to go with the flow and easily satisfied. I was repairing a car under the vehicle and reached out my hand to the assistant, saying, "Pass me the wrench." After getting the wrench, I smelled the familiar pheromone smell. I crawled out from under the car and saw Jack smiling brightly at me. "How did you know I was here?" "I remember you said before that you liked the North Sea. I thought I'd take a chance, so I searched for the auto repair shops opened in the past 6 months and looked for you one by one, and then I found you. As expected of a straight-A student, you're really smart." At this time, an Omega named Theo came to pick up his car. "Mr. Michael, this is the cake I made. I specially brought some for you to taste." I held a cigarette in my mouth. Considering there was an Omega present, I didn't light it and said with a smile, "Thanks." Theo stuffed the cake box into my arms and ran away, covering his face. I was completely confused and asked, "Am I that scary?" Jack said amusingly, "He likes you." "Ha! Michael, you're so handsome but you don't even realize it." I just smiled it off, casually put the cake in the office and invited Jack to a restaurant for a meal. We talked about our school days and felt very nostalgic. Because we were happy, we had a few more drinks. When we parted ways, Jack suddenly hugged me. "Michael, I'm still waiting for you." I didn't move and said, "Don't wait for me. Move on." "Then are you still waiting for Daniel?" "I'm not waiting for anyone. I'm just living a good life." Suddenly, a pheromone with a sense of expulsion rushed towards Jack. I protected Jack behind me, released my pheromones to fight back, and saw Daniel standing not far away. Why has the smell of his pheromones changed? It has become a faint smell of sake. Moreover, his pheromone level has dropped from S class to J class. The pheromone levels from low to high are Class A, Class M, Class J, and Class S. Daniel came up to me, embraced me in his arms, and said with a smile, "Long time no see, Michael." Daniel kissed me. 10 seconds, 30 seconds, 60 seconds. He didn't show any rejection reaction. Instead, the kiss became more intense, as if he wanted to devour me. Just when I was about to suffocate, he finally let me go. I wanted to say goodbye to Jack, but he wouldn't let me. He pressed my head into his arms and said coldly, "Have you seen enough? Why don't you scram?" "Michael, goodbye." Jack left by car. I looked up at him. Daniel cupped my face with tears in his eyes and said, "Honey, what are the general procedures for a man to win back his wife's heart? I have no experience. Teach me." My mouth was filled with the taste of sake. Has the drug to block pheromone dependence been successfully developed? No. Then how? I immediately reached for his gland and felt several scars. Lower your head. Daniel obediently lowered his head. His gland was covered with messy scars, looking like they were scratched repeatedly with fingernails. How did it get like this? He said aggrievedly, "I scratched it myself after you left." Daniel kissed my lips. What's the use of a gland that can't even distinguish one's own wife? I looked at him in shock as if something was tearing at my heart. The damage to the gland is irreversible. His self-harm like this will lead to pheromone disorder and subject him to an excessive attack from his own pheromones. This will be very painful. You little rascal, you've really gone too far. Now can you believe that I'm not playing around? I really love you. He said pitifully, "You can live well without me, but I can't even eat without you. From beginning to end, I love you more. You're always the first to lodge a complaint when you're in the wrong. You're extremely detestable." I grabbed Daniel's hand and led him into the office. Daniel looked around my office, opened the cake box on the table, picked up a pink card, and read, "Mr. Michael, I heard you don't have a boyfriend. I like you. Can we date? Theo." Oh no, I seem to be stepping on Daniel's landmines over and over again today. Daniel was so angry that he forced a laugh and pinned me down on the table. Drinking with your ex-boyfriend and letting him hug you. And there's someone named Theo pursuing you. Michael, the pursuit to win back your heart is on hold. I'm going to punish you first. He lifted the hem of my short-sleeved shirt. I nervously looked at the door. It wasn't locked and employees could come in at any time. Aren't you already punishing me? This isn't a punishment. I'm clearly rewarding you. We both missed each other so much that we couldn't bear to wait even a moment. I leaned back in the chair, smoking a cigarette, feeling as if my soul had drifted away. Daniel wiped the table, took the half-smoked cigarette from my hand, and continued smoking it. After I scratched my gland, my compatibility with Samuel is very low now. You've just experienced it. I can still do it to you. Sake with a peach flavor, a perfect match. Leaning on the armrests of the chair with both hands, Daniel asked, "What else is there to stop us?" I asked, "Next time if I meet an omega with a high compatibility level and my pheromones betray you, what then? Or, if you meet an omega with a high compatibility level again and are controlled by pheromones to drive peach out, what then?" Daniel's eyes were gloomy. "In the first case, I'll imprison you and play the game of forced love. In the second case, I'll cut the gland again. Even if I have to remove the gland and become a beta, that's fine. But the social status of betas is very low and they can only do basic work. He really loves me so much. Michael, what's your answer?" I smiled and pulled him onto my lap. "If there's a next time, don't slash your gland again. I'll lock you up and torture you to death." Daniel's eyes lit up instantly, looking very expectant. Michael must be cruel to me and don't spare me. I smiled and kissed his lips. Sure enough, we are both perverts, a perfect match made in heaven. He chased after me for 2 weeks and I gave in and went back with him. I really am a jinx. On the day I returned to the capital, I met an omega with a compatibility rate as high as 90%. That feeling was very strange. It was like being struck by an electric current, and I was deeply attracted to him and crazily wanted to mark him. This addiction is very fierce and intense. I find Daniel very annoying, but my soul clearly knows that I love Daniel. My body and soul are pulling at each other, leaving me in a dilemma. Daniel was insanely jealous and locked me at home, not allowing me to go out. When he kissed me, I vomited. When he pressed on me, I flipped him over. Daniel looked hurt. "Michael, I finally understand how you felt back then." I pulled him towards the bed and said through gritted teeth, "Again, we need to let the pheromones know who is the master of the body." Daniel regained his fighting spirit and kissed me again. The peach-flavored pheromone beats the sake-flavored pheromone. As they fought, the two pheromones got entangled and brewed a sweet and delicious peach-flavored sake. He said proudly, "Wife, your pheromone has been tamed by me. It will remember that I'm your husband." I put my arms around Daniel's neck, kissed the sweat off his temple and said, "This isn't my place. It's because I spoil you. Otherwise, you'd be the wife." Then, Daniel stopped acting like a human again. We entered the susceptible period together and spent 7 harmonious days. He kissed every scar on my body, like a pious believer confessing to his God. We will spend the rest of our lives proving that an alpha-alpha relationship can also last long. Extra chapter. From Daniel's perspective. I'm obsessed and can't help but stare at my roommate Michael. Michael is a tough, dark-skinned guy. He's handsome, has a good figure, and a perky butt. Whenever I see him, my heart races, and my mind is filled with dirty thoughts of pinning him down. But he, like me, is an alpha and also has a boyfriend. To prevent myself from losing control, I avoid him and don't stay in the dorm. Until I saw Michael kissing his boyfriend. I'm insanely jealous. He should be mine. His kisses, everything about him, should all belong to me. I moved back to the dorm and flirted with Michael from time to time. The more I get in touch with him, the more I like him. He's very gentle, kind-hearted, and easy to deceive. He also sees me as an alpha and isn't on guard against me. From time to time, I can take a little advantage of him. I'm not satisfied. So, I deliberately got close to his boyfriend. I sent flowers and gifts to Jack every day. If Jack didn't waver, I'd just wait for them to break up. It didn't take me much time for Jack to be attracted to me. I arranged for Jack to study abroad and hinted that I'd go too. Jack broke up with Michael. He actually cried. I was very angry and kissed him. He refused to accept me. I've endured for so long and don't want to endure anymore. He's just an alpha. I'll use some tricks to have him first. After having him, I won't crave him anymore. I was wrong, terribly wrong. After spending his susceptible period with him, I got addicted and was completely captivated by him. His performance in bed was amazing. Michael is traditional-minded. He thought that since he slept with me, he had to be responsible for me and agreed to date me. My cute Taodao can only be my wife in this lifetime. I already liked him a lot when he didn't like me yet. The one who loves more is in the subordinate position. I tried my best to please him and didn't dare to be the least bit negligent. I felt very accomplished when I saw more and more attachment to me in his eyes. I live a life on the edge. As long as he is by my side, I have something to worry about, retain my humanity, and won't completely lose control. We are destined to go through some twists and turns, but I will try my best to solve all the obstacles between us. Pheromones can't control my feelings. My soul tells me that I only love Michael and will never change in this lifetime.